Career and Clinical SAS Programmer. Thank you for 1000 subscribers. Introduction. Clinical SAS Programmer is a great choice if you want to make a career, provided you have keen interest in research, data analysis, regulatory agencies, and related to compliance of data. Step 1. Role of Clinical SAS Programmer is mainly into writing SAS programs related to clean, manage, and analyze clinical trial data. So the clinical trial exists for 4 clinical trials, which is phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. So all these clinical trials data, the role of clinical SAS programmer is generally to clean, manage, and analyze, then validate, and to ensure that the files are stored properly in the respective project folder, and to analyze with respect to various statistical methods which are there, which are respect to various SAS procedures which are present in the softwares. Next comes is the generating table listings and figures for regulatory submissions. Now, whenever we see any data in clinical trial, the data needs to be converted as a information. So that process SAS software does, and these information, whatever that has been transformed from data, those needs to be represented in certain format, and that format is nothing but your table listings and figures. So now these representation of TLFs are submitted to regulatory authority agencies so that they review this data and information with respect to the results, and then they provide the approval for that specific drug molecule. Ensuring compliance with CDISC standards, SDTM and ADAM. Now, CDISC is a non-profit organization where they have developed their own standard SDTM and ADAM guidelines, where the entire world across they follow these guidelines in order to ensure that they have a consistency in a specific format structure, where they have to convert and delivery to the US FDA agencies, so that whenever the US FDA agencies, whenever they review this data, they get a very structured and organized format for reviewing, so that it becomes even easier for those agencies to review and provide the approval process in much faster way. Hence, the CDISC organization have developed many standards where majority of the most of the CRO and pharma companies they have to follow, and at times in certain molecules it has even become mandatory. Now, collaborating with statisticians and clinical teams to interpret data. Now, it becomes very essential for a clinical SAS programmer to ensure that they collaborate with various teams. It could be related to doctors, physicians, then laboratory vendors, statisticians, and principal investigator. Then you have to interact with the quality assurance kind of a team, or the auditors, which are the external auditors when they come. So you also have to interact with so many people to interpret the data. Say for example, you have know the medical significance, but the medical significance or the medical terminologies only a doctor can explain to you, because you come from a SAS background and you are not aware of the clinical point of view. So it becomes quite essential to sit in with the doctor to understand what is the medical significance of this specific statement. So once you have understood the medical term, it becomes very easier for a SAS programmer to convert that and interpret the data. Step 2, technical skills required. Now, whenever you want to make a career in clinical SAS programmer, you require a specific skill set. Without this skill set, you cannot approach or become a clinical SAS programmer, right? So the first step is to understand or to learn this SAS programming. Now, there are various modules available in SAS programming, which is related to base SAS, SAS micro, SQL, prog report, prog means, prog transport, etc., prog frec, which is there. So all these are the procedures which are an integral part of a SAS software, and there you have to understand, read, and implement these procedures so that you can analyze the data properly. Next thing is the CIDIS standards, which are the SDTM and ADAM analysis model. Now, SDTM stands for Standard Data Tabulation Model and ADAM stands for Analysis Data Model. Like I said earlier, CIDIS is a non-profit organization and they have built up with the standard guidelines where most of the CRO and pharma companies they have to follow, so that it becomes very easier to arrange and organize the data structure in a specific format, so it remains an overall universal format across all the world and across all molecules. Now, the biostatistics is nothing but the basic understanding of clinical stacks like p-values and confidence intervals. Nowadays, even if you don't have a background of, say, BSc statistics or MSc statistics, people they come from BSc physics or BSc chemistry, or they do B Pharm or they do M Pharm. So it becomes very easier for them to do B Pharm, M Pharm, and then they directly jump into this SAS program certification, because when you do BSc statistics and MSc statistics, it requires a lot of rigorous kind of an effort in terms of understanding the various statistical models, various statistical methods and tests. So some people they like to, like, do it in some other way, but I don't think that's the right way. Like, if you want to really make a career in clinical SAS programmer, you should also have a basic understanding of clinical statistics. Like, say for example, you do BSc statistics and after that you jump into some other stream and then you do as a clinical SAS programmer, that's fine. But coming from a total non education background, it becomes little bit more effort you need to put if you are becoming a clinical SAS programmer from the non education stream. So here, if you have a biostatistics as the foundation for BSc, MSc, it becomes very easier to understand these concepts called as p-value, confidence interval. So you know the basic understanding of the statistics, right? So this really helps, when you do the programming for clinical trial data. So you are already aware of certain terminologies, the ground reality of biostatistics. So that helps a lot. The next thing is your data handling, which is managing large data sets, data validation and transformation. So if you have the skill set of managing this multiple large data sets, it could be around 5,000 records or 10,000 records. So those kind of skill set are required so that you can easily perform and do your job well. Next thing is the CDM concepts, that is knowledge of CRF, eCRF and clinical trial workflows. So CRF is nothing but a case report form. It's just a form, where you collect the data. It is designed in such a way that the data is collected in that specific format on paper or through electronic version. Nowadays it's digital. So people they start capturing data digitally and then they transform it into database. So all these technical skills are required: SAS programming, CD standards, biostatistics, data handling, and CDM concepts. So basic understanding as to how to handle the large data sets, how to transform them. Like, say for example, I have 1,000 table listings and figures. So how can I do the validation in short term with accuracy and efficiency? So those kind of skill sets are required. So you should always focus on these kind of skills in order to get a role in clinical SAS programmer. Third is your domain knowledge. Now the domain knowledge, since it's related to clinical trials SAS programmer, so you should also have a basic understanding of what a clinical trial process is, what are the different phases of trials, what are the regulatory requirements, and what are those terminologies like FDA, Food and Drug Administration, EMA, which relates to European guidelines. So the basic foundation of domain knowledge of the clinical trial process as to how it works from non-clinical phase trial, which is phase 0, to the post-marketing trial where the molecule is already launched in the market from till phase 4. So all these phases you should also have an aware. Then this helps you to get into the next steps of your career. Next is your ICH GCP guidelines, good clinical practice guidelines for handling clinical data. Now, say for example, there are various guidelines which are related to clinical domain, you have a good manufacturing practice, you have good implementation practice, you have good clinical practice. So these guidelines, they are the standard guidelines which are maintained across all the world, and all the CRO and pharma companies, they have to follow them, so that everybody is following a specific process in order to handling the clinical data. Now, why do we need to follow this ICH GCP guidelines? Now, that's a very interesting question. Is since we are dealing with clinical data. Now, what is clinical data? Clinical data is nothing but your human data. So, you are dealing with humans' data, and how to handle it properly in accuracy and with efficiency. That matters a lot, because one wrong decision to launch the molecule, in the market, that affects lot of people outside in the public domain. So that's the reason, to ensure that the molecule, before coming to the market, it goes under rigorous process, under rigorous phases, and it follows all the ICH GCP guidelines, and then only when it comes into the market, it's become safe and efficacy. So this knowledge of guidelines you should also have to make a career in clinical SAS programmer. Next is a regulatory compliance. Now it becomes very essential to follow the 21 CRF Part 11 submission requirements. Now this is very essential requirement document, like, so you should study that. You should know what is 21 CFR Part 11 for the regulatory compliance. Now step 4 is how to get started. Most of the people, they decide to become a clinical SAS programmer, but they don't know how to start. So you can start by learning SAS programming. Now this learning SAS programming is available on most of the resources, like say you have books available, you have online tutorials, you have certain training institutes or academy, you have certain institutes where they launch this markets or courses. So you, before approaching any of the institutes, you should also make sure that you are approaching the right institute with a valid trademark available, so that you don't get trapped into fraud and all those kind of situations. So it's always better to learn SAS program through proper modules, through proper books, and through proper channels. Next is get SAS certified. Now there is only one institute which is SAS. It gives you SAS certification programs. Nowadays, I think there is some free certification is also available, where you can go through their website and you can always navigate that. So maybe in future I'll make another video on that. So you can get certified on that. Now gains hands-on experience. Now we have already learned SAS programming through various books, then you have got the SAS certification, then gain hands-on experience. Now it becomes very essential to get the experience on it. Now, when I was in college, I used to do theory, like, chi-square, Fisher's exact test, and ANOVA and COVA. Theoretically, you will understand all these concepts. You got scores, you got marks, you passed out. But unless and until you implement those statistical methods and statistical techniques on the real world data, you will not understand any inch of it. Like, say for example, theory is different and practical is different. So when you get the mixture of both theoretical and practical experience, you become more confident, and then you understand, okay, so this is how the chi-square test works, this is how the association gets between two variables, okay, this is how we suggest that the drug is safe or not. So unless and until you do the practical experience into it, you will not be able to understand. So like, say for very simple example I will give you. When a baby is born, the mother, she tries to tell the baby, can you walk, can you walk? So theoretically that baby is showing, the mother is showing to baby the footsteps, that this is how you need to walk. But unless and until that baby tries on herself in taking the steps and coming forward, the baby will never come to know that this is how the way I should walk. So that kind of practical experience is required for any newcomer as a clinical SAS programmer. Now learning CDISC, SDTM and ADAM. Like I said, there is a cdisc.org website organization which is available, non-profit organization. So you can go to that website, you can log in, they can give your credentials. You have to enter your mobile number and then you will get your OTP. Then you can enter your official email ID or your Gmail account, and that's how you get into that website. And you will see various articles and you will see various guidelines which are free of download, and you can navigate the entire panel, and you can download all the CDISC, SDTM, and you don't need to go anywhere. Everything is available on internet. So you can go and you can download those guidelines. They have all the various versions of guidelines from starting to the latest modules which are present. So you can navigate that, and some effort would be required to make an effort in navigating those files. Next is network in the industry. Well, unless and until you do the network in the industry, it becomes difficult, like to survive. So this is the major part of the industry, and these are the steps, like to learn, certified, then gain practical experience, then understand the overall standard guidelines, and then you have to network in the industry, like talk to people, like whosoever is having vacancies in terms of internship or in terms of getting a role, just for the case of understanding purpose, or any mini project you can get, or many small project that you can get. May not be you may get the stipend or you may get the monthly some amount of money, but at least some kind of help just to begin your career in the industry. That's quite essential. So you should have good people. You can attend seminars, you can attend workshops, you can attend events, you can attend lectures which are there available, and then you can even attend your own university. You can interact with your own professors, your college students, and you can speak to them, like if they have any process. So the idea is you speak to 10 people, then you sit with yourself and understand, okay, what am I supposed to do. It's not that you got information from 10 people, you do everything whatever they say. No, you speak with them, you understand and see what the reality is, then take a decision as to from where I need to start. Now, there are various job opportunities available in the market, especially in pharmaceutical, CRO, biotech firms, regulatory agencies, which are there. So, there's always been a demand in most of this industry which are related to pharma. Now, this demand will never get stopped. Tell me the reason, ask me the reason why. The reason is pharmaceutical deals with the molecules or the drugs or the medicines now, and these medicines are consumed by the humans. As long as the human's existence is there in this earth or on this planet, this industry of pharmaceutical will never get wiped off. So as long as the humans are there, as long as the medicines are need to be consumed or they are required for humans for their various treatments, this industry will never get vanished, so it's a great demand, like you can make a good career in clinical SAS programmer, and you always have a packing various industries. You have even in banking firms, you can work in insurance, you can work in many fields which is related to retail, FMCG module, so you can work even all in all those opportunities. Step 6, future of clinical science. Now there is always a future with any stream that you select. So here the growth in clinical trials is nothing but your increased drug development leads to higher demand. So like I said, the pharmaceutical industry will never get wiped off as long as we have humans, and as long as medicines are needed for humans for their survival. So there is always a growth in clinical trials. Next is, nowadays people are shifting from SAS to R and Python. The reason is It could be or may be, but it's not yet confirmed. SAS is a very expensive kind of software, and to maintain that software in terms of maintenance or in terms of managing it, its users or number of users are needed for running the SAS software. It's quite expensive as compared to R and Python. R is a very simple programming script. You can easily even download free of cost from internet. It's very easy to download. Python is a booming kind of a stream which is coming nowadays. So nowadays if you see, the shift is slowly moving to R and Python from SAS. Now the regulatory focus is CDISC is the standards, and it's becoming mandatory worldwide. Now, like I said, the worldwide streams, they are always into existence of maintaining standards across all the molecules and across all the industries. Now let's understand the structured learning part. So I have just made up this. So first is your phase 1 beginner level, 0 to 2 months SAS basics. So you can understand through this, you need some time. You would have to give some time to this clinical SAS programmer role if you want to make a career. So the first 2 months, your goal should be to understand the fundamentals of SAS programming and basic data manipulation. So like say manipulation as to how to create a program or how to create a data step. Now what is SAS procedure, how do I write a syntax? So all those fundamentals are required for the SAS programming, and minimum 0 to 2 months to understand the basic should be there. So these are the structured learning path for the goal wise that you need to follow. Next is to understand the SAS Studio or the SAS Enterprise Guide. Now, SAS Enterprise Guide is also one of the version available which is there, and you can even learn from it, and the basics of SAS syntax, libraries, and data sets. So, a little bit of introduction to SAS is also required. Next is data steps, which is import, export, then the data step programming, data set, if, then, where, then these specific SAS procedures, which relates it to proc print, proc mains, proc frac, or proc sort. So these are these steps, just a beginning kind of things that you need, and there are still more steps which you can learn one by one. Then the basic data cleaning. Now how to handle the missing values and how to subset the data. So like say for example, I have 100 records. I want to remove and keep only 50 records. So that is nothing but a subsetting data. So how do I do the subsetting? So those kind of basic data cleaning you should know, and you should know how to handle all these values. The basic reports, which is generating simple reports using proc report and proc tablet. Now proc tablet is also a procedure where you can generate the reports directly, like the way proc report does. So you should know what is the difference between these two procedures and how you can make the basic reports. So your first phase would be like 0 to 2 months. You should understand the basic understanding of data manipulation and the basic fundamentals of these simple procedures. You can invest your time into it. The next is a phase 2, which is intermediate, 3 to 6 months. You can invest for doing the clinical SAS programming. Like the goal should be to develop proficiency in data handling, reporting, and clinical trial concepts. Now say for example, you have some kind of data and you want to present it. So how do you handle different types of data? So that is required. So advanced data manipulation, like say prog SQL, what are the different types of joins, inner join, outer join, and then right join, left join, then SAS macros, how do you handle the repetitive task, then merging and appending data sets which are related to data merge or prog append, then clinical trial data handling, introduction to clinical data management, understanding standards, then creating and validating datasets for clinical studies. Next is your statistical analysis and table listings and figures. So next comes is your analysis. Like once you have understood the basic fundamentals and the basic procedures and data steps of SAS programming, next you can move on to statistical analysis. Like say you can generate the simple statistical analysis or the table listings and figures, like say for example you can use prog means, prog frag, prog report, then prog univariate, prog freak, prog glm. So you can use all these procedures to generate simple statistics, and then you can follow. Then you can create the table listings and figures for clinical trials. Like say you can start with demographic, and then you will come to know as to how I have used the prog report. Now, the validation techniques: debugging and troubleshooting errors in clinical data using proc compare for dataset validation. So, what happens here is you should also know what are the validation techniques available in the market. You should know the proc compare is also a procedure where it technically compares the base dataset and the output dataset, and that's how it compares. So the next is your phase 3 advanced level, 6 to 12 months regulatory and submission. So here the goal is to master your advanced SAS programming, then real world clinical trial applications, regulatory compliance, then understanding as to how the different regulatory requirement works, 21 CFF part, then the define.xml, annotated CRF. So all these concepts are required at the advanced level to understand how do I use the survival analysis for Parkinson's, Alzheimer, and the CNS studies which are related to survival studies, and how do I implement the mixed models or logistic regression with respect to prog mixed or prog logistic. So these are the advanced statistical techniques that you need to put your effort into it. So it usually takes 6 to 12 months. It depends on individual to individual. Some individual they learn very fast, and they have to put their time or effort, it becomes less. But some people, they have to put an extra effort, so they take longer duration of time. Performance optimization, that is using efficient coding techniques, then debugging and optimizing SAS programs. So there are various techniques available for debugging programs in the SAS software, which are related to options and mprint, mlogic, symbolgen. So these are the options which are available through which you can debug a SAS program. Now the real world project implementation: end-to-end SDTM ADAM dataset creation, then generating submission ready datasets for regulatory bodies. So it's quite becomes essential to get a hands-on experience for the real world project implementation, so that you get a fresh and the practical experience into understanding the datasets.
Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment mentioning any topic that you want me to make a video. Looking forward for your positive response. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a feedback comment. Many thanks for your support and having great connection.